Welcome everybody to Tzedakah's present third interview. So I'm actually really excited about our guest today. I've been following her for over 7 years now. She is an author, a public speaker, an entrepreneur, a kindness guru. And I would like to introduce you to Orly Wahba. She is the CEO and founder of Life Vest Inside. She has a wonderful TED Talk that we're going to link in the video below. And we're gonna have a conversation about everything kindness, philanthropy, fundraising, marketing. We're gonna try to cover all of that good stuff. So let's start with Orly. If you can tell everybody a little bit of your background.
Sure.
Where you're from, and what you're up to.
Sounds good. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Just as you've been following my work, I've been following your work, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
So just a bit about my background. So I grew up in the Sephardic community in Brooklyn, went myself to the same school where I was a teacher, Yeshiva Flatbush. So a modern Orthodox community in Brooklyn. And I was a middle school teacher for 7 incredible years, teaching Torah, teaching Bible studies. And about 8 years ago, I decided to leave my job teaching, which was not easy. I loved it very much, to pursue a bigger dream I had in my heart. It wasn't a dream necessarily of starting a nonprofit, but it was a dream I had in my heart ever since I was a kid, to unite the people in this world through the power of kindness. I always felt, I recall very often the story of being as young as a 4-year-old child, feeling very much in my heart of heart that I was meant to do something in this world to bring people together, to help people see beyond the labels and recognizing that each person matters. I didn't know how, but I knew that I was meant to be a part of something big. And through various instances in my life, hardships in my life, in a sense, the pieces of my puzzle came together, and back in 2011, I founded Life Vest Inside. It's a nonprofit organization on a mission to inspire, empower, and educate people of all backgrounds to lead a life of kindness. But at the core, the epicenter of the organization, if I were going to use one word to define it, it wouldn't actually be the word kindness, which some people find to be strange. It actually would be the word empowerment. It's about empowering people to recognize their value, that they matter, that they're unique and significant, and that every single person in this world has something that they can contribute into this world that nobody else can. There's no superfluous people in this world. Every person has something that they can give. And if we can encourage people to understand how they themselves can become a giver, giving doesn't just mean from the pocket, it means from the heart, we can create a better society and a better world. And the way that we set out to spread this message is through inspirational media like film, through education, developing and implementing curriculum, through technology, and through global international events. And that's exactly what we do through the organization.
So what I love most about who you are and what you do is that you represent the most essential, rule, like the golden rule, and you're all about that, just that simplicity, but you bring it down into reality in such a real way. One example is, I actually remember this, 7 years ago, I was online searching whatever, and this video came up on my feed, and it was a song by Matis Yaru, One Day. I'm sure many of you know it, but this incredible video, and it was 6 minutes long. It's hard to keep people's attention today. It's like the 90-second rule. It's a relatively long video that has you glued to the screen of this scenario of this kindness chain reaction. I'd love for you to tell us what inspired you to make this video, what was behind it. And I know that, how many hits is that? 30 million?
On YouTube, it's over 30 million. It's been on Facebook, it's over 100 million shares.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy, and it continues to go through these spurts of virality.
But tell us a little bit about the background, how that
So
came to be.
the video is called Kindness Boomerang, and yes, it shows an act of kindness as it goes from one person to the next, until it comes back to the person that set this into motion. I shot this video while it was my summer off from teaching. Basically, I wanted to show people the ability that kindness has to go from one person to the next, the flow, the ease of it, and continue to create its own life. And the film, again, it was something that people don't know, is all based on real life experiences I personally went through. Every single scene in that film. That summer, I had a background in film production. That's what I went to college for. But it had been 7 years since I had done film. I was scared out of my mind, but I knew I had to do this. And so I sat down, I said, okay, I have the summers off because I was a teacher. I'm gonna do this during my summer break. And I sat down and I wrote a script. Before I wrote the script, actually, I just wrote down kindness experiences. And I put them on Post-it notes. And I had hundreds of them up on the wall in my kitchen. I'll never forget, like right in my living room, people thought I came in there like, what is it? We're seen out of a beautiful mind. You know, all these Post-its all over the place. And I said, how cool would it be to be able to show that flow, that when you pass that energy over to someone else, it doesn't just stop with them. It's something that they can't help but pass on to someone else. And so I chose my favorite ones, like I said, all based on real life experiences, and this concept came about. And I said, I want to be able to communicate to the people that are acting in these roles who their character is. Now, when you see the video, you're saying, Orly, the characters are on screen for maybe 10 seconds each. Like, how long are they on screen? And so that night, I sat down and I started writing a character analysis. It was supposed to be just 1 minute about each, like one few sentences about each character. It turned into be a page long about every single character. I cried more than I can remember that night because every single character had a piece of me inside of that character. But I think that the reason that people connected so much with the film and that it went so viral and it spurred a bunch of copycat films, which to me is the most amazing part of it all, is because what people saw on the screen, they saw themselves. That you don't have to do these larger than life things to make a difference in this world and to matter, to count. You don't have to have, loads of money in your bank or loads of followers or loads of people liking your pictures on Instagram. All you have to truly do is be you. And if you're you, you impact change just because of it. And that's exactly what people saw. They may not know the backstory, but they felt the backstory. To me, that's really how the film, in a sense, reached so many lives. When in 2011, September 2011, I had so much discouragement over the summer of shooting this film. I can't tell you. Everyone I knew, the people closest to me, and sometimes the people closest to you, discourage you the most. Not because they don't believe in you.
They care about you.
I think it's more because they don't believe in themselves. If a person doesn't believe enough in their dream, how in the world do you expect them to believe in your dream? It's not possible. What are you doing? Are you putting all your money into this? Who are you going to reach? Why is it going to matter? And I just knew I had to do it. That was all. Put it on YouTube. At the time, YouTube was still new, and the video just went crazy viral. I thought, oh, this is what happens when you put videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I really didn't. All I was doing, I didn't have a website. I had no staff, had nothing. All I was doing 20 out of the 24 hours a day was responding to comments of people from all over the world communicating a connection to the concept of kindness in all different languages, and relationships were created.
Yeah, I think the greatest impact from your video is not the video itself, but rather how that concept from
Sparked something.
It sparked so many other things.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I heard a great line. Who I don't know who said it, but basically, a revolution is not a revolution if you remember who the person who started it.
Very, very true.
Yeah, because it has to go beyond you. It has to go
100%.
beyond that thing, and then you're really a success. The sort of the decentralization of it. So you did a TED Talk.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about that. How did that come to be?
Okay, it was a very scary experience, let me just tell you. It was wild how it came to be. A friend of mine that I connected to through the film, most of the friends that I had were connected because they saw the film, reached out to me and said, Orly, there's something called the TED Talent Search. I said, what's the TED Talent Search? He says, well, TED is doing something new where they're traveling to different countries. There's an application that's much shorter. You have to do a 1-minute video, and they're selecting people from each country that then give a shorter TED Talk. And from those people, they're going to select a few to give a talk at the main TED. So sort of like the American Idol of speaking, okay?
Recruiting system.
Exactly. I said, you know what? What do I have to lose? The due date was the next day, okay, mind you. I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it. So I filled out the application. I remember doing this 1-minute video. It was the funniest thing. having me be able to speak about what I'm doing in 60 seconds. I was talking so fast.
Excruciating.
I was so much in your, this video is hysterical. And I said, all right, but if I don't get it, I don't get it. The date of me finding out came and went, and I said, okay, I tried. Suddenly, I get an email, and it says that I was selected as one of the people. I remember getting out of my car and just jumping in the middle of the street. I was like so excited. I said, oh my God. And they said the week after, or maybe it was a few days after, you're gonna come in to do like a rehearsal, and the following day you were gonna give a small TED talk at Joe's Pub in New York City with a bunch of TED alumni. Now, my heart is starting to shake. First of all, what does it mean a rehearsal? I never rehearsed giving a talk in my whole life. I don't know how to do that. I can't write a talk. I just open my mouth and then I start speaking. And I figured out what's gonna happen. So I said, how am I gonna do this? It was tearing me up from the inside out. Came to the rehearsal, scared out of my mind, didn't know what it was gonna be. Standing there, giving this talk, I didn't even know who the people were, the big players in TED were, I really didn't. And this guy comes up to me, okay? It was Chris Anderson, okay? I didn't know. I was seriously like this little kid from Brooklyn, like what am I doing? I don't know. And I give the talk, and he comes up to me, he had tears in his eyes, and he gave me a big hug. I was like, oh my gosh. He says, I want you with me at TED, at the main TED. I said,
you know, I read a lot about Chris Anderson, and I read his book, and I think your talk really personifies their mission statement. You know, so I think to them it's like such a breath of fresh air where there's like, yes, this is what we're about, spreading goodness and in a way that's so congestible, in a way that everybody can relate to.
So to be honest, I had an amazing beginning experience. I don't know if I want to go all into the actual experience of TED, but it wasn't very, I feel bad, I don't like to say negative things about it. It was a very, very rough experience. Not because of the nerves, but it was a very rough experience, I'll put it that way.
They're very into training.
It wasn't the training, I didn't really go through training. It was it was a very rough week, I'm not gonna lie. I think I lost maybe 10 pounds that week, not just because of the nerves. And it was a very frightening week.
So you wouldn't do it
I felt very alone, to be honest, I did. I didn't have a good experience. That's not to say that other people would have, I've done many TEDx's after it, but it was the exact opposite feeling I felt when I got that hug.
So that's
to be honest,
yeah.
I've never shared that publicly, by the way, so it's not so easy.
So that actually is a great segue to my next question. So you've had this incredible, sort of accidental success, right? You didn't plan out to say, okay, how are we going to get 30 million views on a video about kindness, right? So we got to get some cats, right? Some cats and some babies, right? Maybe put that in there. Maybe get, some homeless people, you did something that was important to you, something that meant something to you. You used your talent and your skill of your creativity, and you created something that had such a viral impact. What would you say to somebody who, a nonprofit leader, someone that's trying to perpetuate a cause, and a school, any type of organization, any type of, what would you say? Are there things that you can reverse engineer and say, this is what you need to do to be able to make something similar like this happen?
So it's funny, I always get that question. Some people come to me, so what did you do to make your video go viral? And I said, I posted it online. But the truth is, thinking back, I was only, during that, again, I was a teacher at the time. I wasn't yet doing this full time. During that summer, I was focused on one thing. I was focused on this film. What I mean by that is I put in every piece of my heart. The reason I think that people connected isn't because of the visuals on the screen. I really do believe it's because
what you put into it.
What you put into it. It's not something tangible. And I wasn't doing it with the thought in my mind, I want to do this because I want to become famous. I was doing it because I want to make an impact. I want to shift the world in a positive direction. I know that doesn't sound so tangible, but it's very true.
No,
so my whole all was into it. everything that I was thinking was about that. Even the storylines, like I'm telling you, the backstories, all of that, the tears that were cried, like all that is very much a part of it. The other thing is to not lose yourself. Keep yourself at lower level. To me, it's very important. I never attribute my successes just to me. I really don't. I believe that it is to do with the people. And for me, again, other people have their own things. For me, I always attribute everything to God. That's me. Everybody has their own thing. I feel the way I feel like I'm a shaliach. I'm a messenger. And all I want to be and all I want to do is be able to be a good vessel, to bring the message to the world. That's it. Whether people are going to remember me or remember my name, I even used to say before I would go into teaching, I'll never forget, every year before the school year started, and every morning in tefillah and prayer, I would say the same prayer. I would say, please Hashem, God, give me the ability to inspire, to empower, and to uplift my students so that they can make the right choices and decisions in their life, so that they can become the best version of themselves, so they can bring out the best in others as well. And that same energy was how I went into making the film that day. That morning, standing in Red Bank on Main Street on Broadway, I said that exact prayer. I said, I have no idea. I have a feeling this is going to reach far and wide. I don't know who's going to remember but please let me be that vessel. I think that when you come from an authentic and genuine place, you're going to be able to touch people, and you're going to be able to inspire them, and you're going to be able to guide them. But the minute that you get sucked into the facade of numbers and things that don't really matter, you can lose track of who you are. And to be honest, I think that that's the greatest danger ever. So you have to constantly remind yourself, who am I and what is my purpose here? I used to have a little note in front of my desk every day. A friend of mine gave it to me. And whatever your mantra is going to be, you have to choose it. It's not going to be mine. And I'm not telling you to choose my path, because my path isn't what your path is. But what mine said is, why are you here? You are here to serve Hashem, to serve God. What that means to me is I'm here to serve people, because each person is made in the image of God. Whether they believe in God and don't believe in God, doesn't matter. But that was my motto. You have to find your motto and always have it in front of your eyes. Because when you see it and it looks back at you every day, no matter how things get big or how famous or how whatever, you're always going to remember who you are and what your purpose is. To me, that's the formula for success.
Amazing. So, the video, then the TED Talk, and then you became an author.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I have your book. I think maybe you even sent it to me, or...
I think so.
I think you sent it to me. It's a beautiful book. Tell us what went into that, how the response has been.
Another crazy story of how just the amazingness of when you're in a positive space, these things come to you. I was giving a talk in Las Vegas as part of a company called Catalyst Creative. And Tony Hsieh, the founder of Zappos, was part of this collaborative in really revitalizing downtown Vegas. So I went to speak, and it happened to be that I went to speak at that time. They had wanted me to come months earlier, but everything came at the right time. And I was very nervous. I always get nervous before I speak, no matter how many times I do it. And after the talk, a guy comes up to me, and he says to me, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" I said, "Yes, I have thought about writing a book. We're thinking about writing a book." And writing a book, by the way, they're two different things. So he said, "Here's my card. Call me when you get back to New York." I didn't know who he is, what he is. Okay. So I took his card. I always follow up with people when I get there, So I get back to New York, and I send him an email. Turns out he was one of the guys at Macmillan Publishers. It's a big publishing company.
Wow.
I go in to meet with him, sweetest guy ever, okay? And his name is Will Schwalbe. He's such a good guy. And we're talking about a few different concepts of ideas. He goes, "Okay, let's start with this." I said, okay, what does that mean? And they gave me an advance. I got a book contract with them, book deal. First time author, who am I? Again, this is a Jewish girl from Brooklyn that was a Torah studies teacher. I don't know what was going on. But I said, okay. So they gave me this contract. I ended up getting connected with Tony Hsieh's literary agent. And boom, got the thing to write the book. The experience of actually writing it, I remember having writing blocks. I took a whole month. Well, was doing preparation, but the main writing happened within a month's time. And I gave myself 3 writing blocks every day, morning, afternoon, and evening. But the secret sauce to all of this was 2 things. Number one of my kindness ambassadors in the organization, volunteer, he came on board as sort of my accountability partner. Every day without fail, I had a call with him for 1 hour because I was accountable to him to make sure I got the writing done. When you know you have to do it for someone else, it gives you more of the energy to do it. And so each day we would meet. One day I would take off to get work done within the organization. That was a very big push to get me to finish that book. I'm very, very grateful to him. His name is Jeff. On top of that, I also did the book in memory of my grandfather. Now, to me, this was a big deal because it gives even more personal energy for wanting to see it happen. He had just passed away several months prior to it, and a lot of the projects I do are in his memory as well. A new project that I'll maybe tell you about afterwards. And it kept me really focused. The time of writing was the most reflexive time in my life. I got to go back into my past, into my childhood, into different experiences and instances and moments that left an impact and an impression. And it was a really magical time for me. It came out in January 2nd of 2017. And I made a couple films based on the book when it first came out. And it's been used a lot in schools specifically, because it's a lesson-a-day book. The book is broken down as 365 days. Every day of the year has act of kindness, an inspirational quote, and then a short reflection on the power of paying it forward. And there are 12 categories of kindness that repeat throughout the course of the book, focused on different areas. Kindness in the workplace, in the home, with strangers, with yourself, with nature, so on and so forth. And so it's used a lot in schools to open up. A lot of schools do it as their morning announcements. They read that specific entry for the day. And also companies, that before a company meeting, they read an entry from kindness in the workplace because it sets a tone and a culture within that space. And people could take a couple of minutes to discuss that specific theme. And then I happened to have gone on a cross-country tour with the book, visiting schools, giving over 50 talks in a very short window of weeks to schools mainly on the West Coast and the East Coast. And it was really spectacular. And each week I still do a reading of my book every Monday, and there's going to be an audio book coming out. I'm going to be doing the audio version. Hopefully I'll have my voice back, I'm going to be doing an audio version of the book. It's very exciting.
Wow. That's
and it's been translated already into 5 languages.
Wow. So I would love you to tell everybody about what's it called? The World Kindness Day.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Because I think that there is so much that can be learned and borrowed from World Kindness Day for organizations that would either do something similar to that or apply some of the things that you're doing on World Kindness Day to giving days and crowdfunding campaigns. So tell us a little bit about World Kindness Day, the background, how it came to be, and
crazy story here also. So World Kindness Day
full
is
of crazy stories.
Everything's
got a crazy story.
It's all crazy stories. World Kindness Day is actually on November 13th. It was established in 1998 by the Singapore Kindness Movement that was part of the World Kindness Movement. They may still be part of it. I don't want to.
I'm sorry, Dance for Kindness, right?
Dance for Kindness is what I've created to commemorate. So when I first got started with the organization, I wanted to create a World Kindness Day. I didn't know that there was a day that existed, but apparently no one knew that it existed.
No, I didn't.
So I said to myself, I'm going to create an event that's going to bring awareness to this day, and that's going to be a great launching pad for volunteers to get involved in the organization, to raise awareness, to raise funds for the organization. And that was called Dance for Kindness. Now, I knew nothing about dance. I'm not a dancer in any way, shape, or I think they're so cool, but I can't dance for my whole life. So I said, I need to learn, if I'm going to teach this to others, because in my core, that's what I am. I'm a teacher. I need to be able to learn what to do so that I can inform others how they can do the same. And so I created the first event in June, not on World Kindness Day, to simply learn. It was in New York City in Times Square. Huge success. I wrote up a handbook. And then in the summer, I put up a post on Facebook. I didn't have a website at the time still, mind you. And I said, hey guys, I'm looking for some crazy people that want to do this idea with me to celebrate World Kindness Day. We're going to do Dance for Kindness, the largest global flash mob, uniting people from around the world through the power of song and dance, where everyone would be dancing to the same song, same dance, all on the same day, under the banner of kindness, showing that regardless of our differences, kindness is the common thread that unites us all. It's something that we can come together to agree upon, even though we could disagree about everything else. And so 30 very brave people said, I'm in, from 15 countries. And I went through meeting every one of them via Skype. I already knew a lot of them because I was, again, messaging people. That was all I was doing on social media. So these people became my friends. And the event came about. The first year in 15 countries, done without even a website. Incredible. Videos from all the locations. We put together this really big worldwide montage. Now we're going into our 8th year, and we're in over 50 countries around the world. But it wasn't just about the event. It was about these group leaders. People that maybe want to give back or want to do in their community but don't know how. There were people from age 10 to age 76 that were group leaders. Okay? People that are tech savvy to people that never turned on a computer. And my job was to teach them how they can utilize social media, the new digital age, to really impact change, and take any large dream they have and break it into its parts and make that dream a reality. That's really the core of what Dance for Kindness is. Being able to ignite dreamers, or to be able to ignite change makers to understand how they can take that idea and make it happen, even with no money whatsoever.
Why do you think people are joining this?
That's a great question. I think that the reason people are joining is, number one, people want to feel that they are part of something bigger than themselves. Number two, there are many people out there in the world that want to do good but don't know how. And if it's broken down for them in a simple way, if here's what you do and everything is given to them, it's very simple, it's very cookie cutter. You can teach those skills, you can teach those skills of how to take anything and move it forward. It's increasing the pool of givers in the world. That's how we tackle all of the different issues that are facing society today. Recognizing that every person, whether it be the president of a company or the guy sitting on the street, everyone can give. But if they feel like they could become a part of something, my gosh, you've just shifted everything.
Amazing.
So that's why I think people get involved, because they feel that sense of camaraderie, that sense of connectivity, that sense of belonging to something bigger than you are.
You created an app. Tell us about it.
So it's called Abraham's Legacy. It's a social network for prayer. The way that this came about is also through another dream. About 5 years ago, my grandfather fell on Passover and he broke his hip. Little do we know that that one occurrence would lead to a whole stream of things that 6 months later he would pass. When he first fell, we thought we lost him right away. We were given another 6 months, thank God. The first thing we did was take the book of Tehillim, the book of Psalms, and break it up. There are 150 chapters in the book of Psalms. And the power of Psalms really comes in the completion of the Sefer, the completion of the book. And so the family, everyone took their own chapters, and the idea was that each person's going to read their chapters every day to finish the book each day. I was worried. Maybe people are going to forget. They'll feel guilty. I don't want to make them feel guilty. I have to send them a message. So for months, every day, I was reading the entire book of Tehillim. And I had a dream about this app. I remember waking up, I drew some pictures of it. I didn't know how I was going to do it because I didn't have the money, but I knew I had to do it. And about just in August, beginning of August, I finally had the opportunity to set it out onto the market for both iOS and Android. What is the idea behind Abraham's Legacy? So there are 3 tabs within the app: the read, the circle, and the profile. Let's say you have a few minutes to read, to pray. Great, you could take out a book and read one given chapter, and maybe the next time you have a chance is another week, but you don't know where you are. Again, the power comes in the completion. Even though reading, praying in any way is amazing. Here you come to the app, you click on read, and the app will generate for you the next chapter in the global count. So if the global count's up to chapter 22, you click, you get 23. And it keeps track of it in real time, showing you books completed, chapters read, people reading, countries reading in real time. It's in right now currently Hebrew, English, and Spanish, with French on its way. Also going to be added in Russian and Arabic over this coming year. And the idea is, if you time out or you don't confirm reading, the app will know and will redistribute your chapter to someone else. So we're certain that these books and these chapters are actually being completed. Within the Circles tab, you can create a circle for a friend or loved one, and every circle has its own individualized link that when you share, people will automatically join your circle. You could chat with members of your circle to update them if somebody's going into surgery, or, as well as also seeing a leaderboard. You could see who's read the most daily and weekly, which incentivizes even more reading and connection to the.
Wow.
And it has
You can get them on the App Store?
You could get it on the App Store, on iTunes, or on
we're going to put
on
a link
Android.
on the video.
It's Abraham's Legacy, and we're in the midst of launching the first International Day of Prayer. 50,000 people completing 613 books of Tehillim in one day on October 3rd on Dalet Tishrei, in memory of my grandfather.
So I'm sure a lot of people watching are trying to figure out, build an app. It's not an easy thing, right?
Yeah.
And especially as a nonprofit, I get asked a lot, should we build an app for our services? And 9 times out of 10, I would say no, because you're not a tech company.
Yeah.
You're a nonprofit, unless you're a tech company nonprofit, which is rare. So tell us a little bit about how you went about it. Do you still feel that it was do you feel that it's the right move, and are you seeing traction? I mean, what can you tell
Sure.
Any nonprofit leader out there that has an idea like this and something that could use automation and could use streamlining? What kind of advice can you give those people?
Okay, first of all, you have to think out your idea so well. Don't just go and hire a development company and think that they're going to give you your vision. It doesn't work this way. Not only did I draw out the wireframes, I designed it, I looked at apps, I researched apps, I understood about UI, UX. I made an entire functionality guide. It was about getting to know every dot of the app. What happens when I press this? You should never go into development of an app. Don't take $1 out of your pocket until you know it so well that it's like the back of your hand. You need to, because that's where people go and get into a lot of issues, a lot of mistakes, where they spend money that they don't need to spend. You also need to research the market. What else is out there like it? Don't close your eyes to what's out there because no, what I'm doing is better. No, go into it with your eyes opened. Understand the market. What are people doing that are similar to it? What is working about it? What's not working about it? Is there a market for it? And to me, that's key. If you're going to be able to be successful in doing what you're doing. Because if there is no market, what is it you're trying to do? You need to know the costs up front and know that whatever you think the costs are, they're way more than that. Because it's not like you got a quote from a company, great, they give you your app and you're done and you wave and you say goodbye. No. An app is something that needs to be kept up to speed at every second. Why? Because if a user comes to your app and there's one issue, they're going to delete your app. We're in an age where people don't have patience to give you another chance, unfortunately.
Right.
So you have to be aware that it can drain a lot of money. If you don't have a revenue stream within your application, I would say you have to be careful. Don't say, because I'm gonna get users and advertise. No. You must have a revenue stream that makes sense. You need to know that you're going to have a way to sustain it. If you're a nonprofit, you're not looking to make revenue from it, that's okay, but it needs to sustain itself. Otherwise, you're walking into something that is just going to be a bottomless pit.
So we at Charity launched an app a few months ago.
Yeah.
A daily giving app, recurring gifts, getting notifications when a campaign that you've given to in the past is going live. You can see organizations local when you're, wherever you're going. If there's within a radius of 5 zip codes, you'll be able to see like the organizations that are there. And if you look at over the last few years, right, mindfulness apps became very, very popular in, I would say, early 2017. There are
growing tremendously.
A dozen mindfulness apps. Calm was actually the best. Was on the Apple Store was the app of the year. I think it was in 2017 or 2018, and they've become like the stickiest trend that's happening right now. And I think that is becoming a stepping stone
100%
for more goodness and more activity.
It's very true
on your phone.
The thing is that there are a lot of stuff like this that are popping up, a lot, just like there are a lot of kindness organizations popping up. When I started the organization, I was the first in this space, really, the first. Now it's like everywhere else you look. But I do believe that a revolution was created many years ago. And it's exciting to know and to see where it's going to continue to grow.
So, Orly, it's absolutely fascinating speaking with you and to see
Thank
over
you.
the years how you've just from one successful project to another successful project and have just evolved into this incredible movement. And I think that anybody out there who is looking for a great, example of innovative and disruptive success within the nonprofit community, check out Orly.
Thank you.
Get her book, watch her videos, watch her TED Talk. She's just get on her radar. There's so much that you can learn from her. I want to close off with one question.
Yeah.
Orly, I believe that possibly the greatest driving force for your success are your values. Okay, and for anyone looking to grow their cause and grow their reach and grow their constituents and their partners, and you have to have strong values. Okay?
100%.
So how do you maintain those values through all of your work, and what can you share with us and share with everybody watching about how important values are in your work, and anything that you can share on this?
So I know I spoke about this a little before, just in terms of keeping your values as you're moving on and getting success, but you need to know your values, but you need to continuously practice them. And you need to incorporate things into your workplace that's allowing you to practice them. I'm actually working currently with a company, putting together in a sense, a program that many HR departments within other companies will be able to incorporate. Making sure that you actually are taking your values, so looking at their values, understanding them, evaluating them, understanding how their employees are seeing those values, how they're experiencing them, how their clients are experiencing them, and being able to come up with new and innovative ways so that those values don't just remain on a paper, but they become a living, breathing thing, and that people know them, not because it's written, but because they feel it. If the heads of a company, if the owners of a company and the higher ups in a company are not living those values, the employees, the clients will not feel it. It needs to come from you. The same way, like I was saying, the film only went viral not because of the pictures you saw on the screen or because of the actors that were chosen. It went viral because of the underlying message that was infused into it by writing it from a place of truth, by infusing myself into it, and by making sure that message was infused into every person that was on that camera. That is the most important thing. You can't tell someone your values. You need to live it and be a model of it. It's the same methodology I used as a teacher. I never told my students what to do and what not to do. I simply lived it and hoped that they saw it and replicated that in their own way.
Okay, we're going to end with some speed questions.
Go for it.
So, first thing that comes to your mind, we close with this every video. First thing that comes to your mind, just spit it out.
Got it.
Who was your role model growing up?
My dad.
Is he still your role model?
100%.
Why?
My dad is a very big dreamer in a very positive sense. First of all, number one, he has a tremendous amount of emunah, tremendous amount of faith. To me, you want to know what led to my success? That's the only thing. That's my honest truth. And he's a person that no matter what, even when he was in the most difficult situations, always said, Orly, Hashem is big, God is big. Even when he was underneath so many negative things were happening. Having that in my pocket, there's nothing that can come my way that will allow me to feel alone or to feel like there's no way out.
If we can bring someone from past generations, an individual, right now to sit and have a conversation with us, who would that be?
Easy. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu, the Elijah the prophet.
If you were an actress in a film, what actress would you be?
Oh boy, what actress would I be? Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan.
I love her.
What was the first thought you had this morning?
What was this first thought I had this morning? Well, I did wake up with a migraine, so I was just praying to God that it would go away.
If you can live in a different era, what era would you live in?
Ooh, I would live in the time of the first Beit HaMikdash.
Okay. One last thought that you have for everybody listening in today.
I think that the one last thought I could leave you with is the concept of belief. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about belief in yourself. To believe that there's something that you were put on to this planet, to this world, to bring into the world. There's something that you were meant to do that no one else can do in this world, no matter what they try. Because there's no extra pieces of the puzzle. Every piece of the puzzle counts. Different shapes, different colors, but every single one the same size. So never forget it.
Thank you, Orly.
Thank you.
Thank you.